Morning. It's quite appropriate that Father Mark asked me to do my testimonial today because I realised yesterday that it's the anniversary of my baptism and confirmation today, which happened right here 10 years ago. The year before, I had just arrived in Paris and had started to think about living out a faith that I already had more seriously. I had been going to the Catholic churches around and very much wanted to get in touch with that tradition, which was something new to me. But I wanted something perhaps that felt culturally safer. I also read a book by a very obscure priest in the Church of England by the name of Geoffrey John. I've not heard anything from him since anyway. So I turned up here one day on a Saturday midday mass and was greeted afterwards by Christopher and the late great Mary Berg, who was at the height of her powers as church warden at the time, and I was instructed in no uncertain terms to show up the next morning, which I did. And Father Matthew, who I'd been introduced to, and Mary and Christopher came up and saw me after the mass, and they all remembered my name and said, "So nice to see you," which is a small thing, but meant a lot. So I came back the week after that, and around Easter, which was a terrible time to ask a priest for anything, I asked Father Matthew to talk to me about baptism and confirmation, and started growing a sense of, or rather gathering an ability to articulate the feelings that I had about my faith before. The first thing that Father Matthew told me was about all humans being made in the image of God, and so when we do things which are creative or loving, that this is in fact us carrying out our vocation as creatures made in the divine image, which was such a simple thought, but really one of the most marvellous thoughts I think that's ever been shared with me, and has really helped shape my view since. And I think that's what St. George's really offers. I can come to church and live out a faith which feels authentic. I can come as my whole self. I don't have to put a face on for church or tone down my terrible sense of humour. There's a sense of integrity, I think, that St. George's provides, which allows us to ask questions or express doubts, have a faith which is both lived out and also thought out. And I think that makes St. George's one of the healthiest places to be a Christian in the modern world. That doesn't mean that I have been necessarily faithful all the time. Those of you who know me will know that I have vanished for periods of time, sometimes months, sometimes longer. And no one ever kneeled me to say, "Where are you? Why aren't you showing up?" People did, Julia, keep in touch, very gently, just say, "How are you?" And made it clear to me that if I did come back, and when I came back, I'd be very welcome. But no one that I did eventually turn up said, "Huh, where have you been?" And so I felt a little bit like a prodigal son. And so last week, the week before, whenever the bishop came through confirmation and talked about being called by name, and when I think about the idea of a prodigal son, what I realise is that in very humble, small ways, in St. George's, I have been loved in a way that reflects the divine love. I'm not saying we're perfect, but that's something quite special. And some of you may know this year I became Roman Catholic as well. And the more Roman Catholic I became, the more Anglican I felt, and the more I missed St. George's. And I really don't have another church. I didn't go to church in England. I don't have another church here. It's just St. George's. So I filled in my pledge. It's small, because I'm poor, but if all of us can do so, then hopefully we'll be able to, maybe I'll be able to stand here for more years, and maybe longer, and continue thanking God for what we have here as a community. Thank you.